မင်္ဂလာပါခင်ဗျာ Burmese Canadian YouTube page ကနေကြိုဆိုပါရစေဒီနေ့ကျွန်တော် interview လုပ်ပေးမှာကတော့ကနေဒါနိုင်ငံဘန်ကူးဗားမြို့မှာရှိတဲ့ financial educator တယောက်နဲ့ interview လုပ်ပေးမှာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ဒီဗီဒီယိုကိုဆက်ပြီးတော့နားထောင်ပေးပါနော်ကျွန်တော်ရဲ့ interview တွေကိုကြိုက်တယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်လည်း like and subscribe လုပ်ခဲ့ပေးပါ Thank you very much for answering our Burmese Canadian YouTube channel. We are giving some information to the people who wants to come to Canada, or yes, who want to adapt in Canada, so that they can grow in Canada as well. So my first question is like, would you like to introduce a little about yourself? Who are you and where are you from? And right now, what services are you giving in Canada?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Levi, and I am an independent licensed financial advisor, currently licensed in the province of British Columbia. And this is a relatively new business that I've been starting in, but I've been receiving the education that some of which I will present with you after for over a year now. And prior to being a financial educator, originally, when I left high school, when I finished high school, I was a construction worker and I was a carpenter for some years after that. And then I decided that carpentry wasn't for me, so I moved on and I went into an engineering program at BCIT. And at the same time, I was actually approached by an old friend of mine, and he had graduated from SFU, Simon Fraser University, BD School of Business. And he had learned about this education through another friend of his. So when my friend, let's call him John had learned about the information, the financial education sessions, and he realized that everything that he learned at the BD School of Business, like the finance school, it wasn't applicable to real life. It wasn't applicable to his own personal finances. And so that inspired him to get involved and to start teaching people the education on the basics of the Canadian banking system. We cover everything, or we cover investments, we cover tax efficiency, and we also cover wealth protection and advanced strategies to have tax-free income in retirement. Now, when he learned about these strategies, he decided to go all in, and since then he has helped out many Canadians, many family and friends and other people that he has known with information that they wouldn't have known. And so from me knowing John then introduced me to the same information, and this was a year ago, and I decided just to learn more about it, see what I could apply to myself. And then same thing, I saw the difference that it was making in my own life. I saw the difference that it was making in friends and families' lives who I had introduced to the information as well. So I decided to get involved, and as a financial educator, my job is to, well, just what it sounds like, educate on the basics of the Canadian banking system. And then from there, we make plans for clients, and if they want to go through with it, then we will do that. But if they do not, then at least they're left with the education and the value we have provided. And all of these sessions are at no expense, because we believe that education is the best base to dealing with your own personal finances, and that then you'll be able to defend the product, the strategy, the investment that you took anywhere you go.
So, some people, they are quite confused with the financial educator and the finance person, so finance or accountant. So could you please describe a little bit about the differences between the finance persons and the financial educator?
Sure. Yeah. Well, as an accountant, you are more focused on the specific numbers and the specific business of whatever, like the person or the business that you're dealing with, right? You're focused on the numbers and maybe tax strategies that have to do with that. But accountants don't actually provide the level of service that we do, because we have access to products that accountants don't have. We actually have access to private level institutions within Canada that most advisors, if you go to a bank, they wouldn't be able to supply you with the same information and the same products that we are able to provide. So that's the main difference between an accountant, is that they are very specialized in one area, and they are useful for a business to have to keep their numbers right and their books right? But we actually focus more on the outer scope of strategies. What strategies can a person follow, and then we look at the numbers after that.
Yes, thank you. If someone want to be a financial educator, what license they should have to pursue, and what education they have to pursue, and what school should they go? Would you like to explain a little bit?
Sure. Well, like I said, the specific education that we are offering that I'll present for you, hopefully if we have time after this meeting,
Yeah.
It's not presented at SFU or BD School of Business. I honestly believe that even if I started reading investment books and started like putting all like money in the stock market and gaining and losing, it would have taken me 10 to 20 years to know the information that was condensed for me in the way that it was. And that's why I believe that no one else, honestly, I do believe that no one else in Canada offers the same level of service when it comes to financial education that we do. So, unfortunately, like I can't give it out because like I was saying to you earlier, but again, if anybody would like to know more about this education, they can always contact me. They can find me on LinkedIn at Levi Sladen, right? Maybe you could include that,
Yeah.
or also my email.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, so those are the main ways that they can have access to this specific education. And yeah.
So you said you used to be in engineering fee, in the construction fee, in the mining industry as well. So
Yes.
why do you switch your career to become a financial educator?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. First, as a carpenter, I didn't like being tied to the construction business. I wanted to free myself from that a little bit because with the construction, there's always knew that something always has to be built in order for me to have a job. And I don't want my job to be dependent on, whether somebody wants a new house or not. And second, so I chose engineering, but at the same time, mining engineering is always dependent on someone else. Again, sure, there are lots of jobs and they pay well, but I wanted to, even before that, the reason that I'm sitting in front of you right now is that I saw the difference that this education made in my own life and in the lives of my friends and family. And that inspired me to start because, there is very good compensation and you get to help people with their finances with great information at the same time. So that is honestly what inspired me. And I mean, the bonus of it is that I get to be essentially my own boss because I'm independent and I don't have to answer to a bank. I don't have to answer to any one institution.
Okay. Yeah, as far as I understand, yeah, but I have some few questions for the accountant and finance person. Yeah, you're not finance person, but would you like to suggest to those who want to begin a finance in Canada? So it is a demanding job in Canada.
Is it in demand?
Yeah, it is in demand.
Yes, I would say so. But here's the thing, it absolutely, people always need help with their finances. And as long as there's money going around, then people are going to want education as to the best place to put that money. But you can only provide the level of service and education that you yourself have received. So what I say, the best way that someone can learn, again, they would either contact me or potentially you as well, and then hopefully that would be my personal recommendation as to the top level of service.
Oh, okay. It's normally for the new immigrant like me, what should they know? What should they know about Canadian system, Canadian banking system?
Well,
Yeah,
when it comes to
yeah.
the Canadian banking system, there are a lot of ways that it's actually hurting Canadians in the fact that there is money available and there's debt available to be taken on. But unless people understand how to first save their money, then they have to grow their money. And then we must make sure that that growth is tax efficient. And the fourth step to building wealth is that we need to protect that wealth. And we need to protect everything that we've built over the years. And yeah, I mean, there are so many ways to take on debt and so many investments that give very little return that it's easy for somebody to be trapped. Even it's very easy for somebody to be trapped. But That's not saying that the banking system is all bad, right? Like there are very many upsides, and Canada has amazing products. We just need to be able to find the best products and put our money in those.
Yes, it's from the different various services.
Exactly.
Yeah. What are the common mistakes that new immigrants usually did in terms of the financial knowledge?
That's hard to answer because I myself, like I grew up in Canada, so I can't say what mistakes that a lot of immigrants are making when they come to Canada. But from from what I see, at least the ones that I've noticed, a lot of immigrants in Canada are very hardworking, very driven individuals who are also entrepreneurial and want to take advantage of the freedom to open a business. And I really respect that. I truly respect that. That's honestly all I can say about the mistakes that are most often made. I'm sorry, I'll try and come with a better answer for that and maybe message you with it after.
Oh, okay. How should someone like me, as a new immigrant, be aware of the Canadian tax system?
Well, the Canadian tax system differs from province to province. So it's very useful to look at your specific province and see what taxes are going in there. And if you're running a business, then there are ways to look at taxes from there. Depending if you're a contractor, if you're running your own business, like a sole proprietorship, if you are an employee on salary, and what kind of tax benefits, or like like bad tax things come from each of those possible situations. So it's very important to understand the situation of work that you're coming into and the ways that that can be leveraged to so that so that you're not paying as much tax and so that more of that money is growing in your own pocket.
So basically your service for the company owner, like employers, or what about for the employees?
Yeah, for the employees, it's very important to understand the different kinds of accounts that Canada offers and what the best use and strategy for those accounts is as well.
And doing some financial literacy campaign. So what is the meaning of financial literacy campaign? Yeah.
Well, just like the exact reason that I messaged you, Naylin, in the first place, is that we understand that 95% of Canadians don't have the correct knowledge and don't have the correct understanding when it comes to their own personal finances and how they can advance in the best way in order to retire and become financially independent. And that 95% is such a big number that our firm is on a campaign to provide people with the best financial knowledge that we know to be available. If there are better strategies, then we will learn them and we will teach those to the people instead. And that is the campaign. And from there, people can decide on which products that they want to invest into. And yeah, that's essentially it. There's a big need and we want to fill it as much as we can.
What is a credit history? Because some country they don't have a credit history. Yeah, their banking system is different. So in Canada, credit history is very important. So what is the credit history in Canada?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so credit score is based on your financial value and the risk that a business or financial institution or government will be taking on when they provide you with a loan or possibly debt. So there are positive things that can impact your credit score. The credit score of Canada is based on a few things upon your own financial value, number one, according to banks, and also according to how good you are at paying back the debts that you do have. So what is actually recorded on payment history? Never be late on a payment for anything that has to do with your credit, phone bill, credit card bill, mortgage, whatever it is, right? Because that is going to negatively affect your credit for a number of years. And also, it's not wise to use over 30%. When you're using over 30% of your available credit in a revolving account, that is when the companies start looking and say, he is using too much of what he can borrow. And that's also going to negatively affect your credit score. Now, of course, here and there, it's not the worst thing in the world. And you need to do what you have to do with your credit in order to keep advancing, right? But as a general rule, it's not good to keep your utilization above that 30% rule. Now, also, there are other things that negatively affect your credit are hard inquiries. And what are these? They also call it like, well, yeah, hard inquiries. And this is when you apply for a credit card and they check your credit score, and that's actually negatively affecting your credit score. And that's another thing to be aware of. Don't go and apply for 10 credit cards or 5 mortgages or 3 car loans at once, right?
Yeah.
Because that is going to negatively affect your credit when other credit companies see that you are applying to all these different places. And that's essentially it. Now, things that can positively affect it are paying your bills on time, having accounts for a long time, and making a lot of money, essentially.
And also it affects how, if you want to buy a house, they check your credit score as well, right?
Of course, yes, that's
Yeah.
no.
So why is that? Why they checked it?
Well, it's because they want to know the amount of risk that they are taking by giving you a loan. So here's an example. If I meet some random person on the street and he asks me for a loan of $1,000 and I don't know him, how likely am I to give it to him? Not very likely, right? So before I know that, I probably want to know a little bit more about him. Maybe we'll sit down for coffee. Maybe he'll tell me what his job is and how he's going to make sure that, he's actually able to pay me back in the time that we both agree on. And that's essentially what everyone is doing when they check your credit history.
Oh, yes. Just by the way, I have got a quick thought about the credit card company. Like in Canada, if I go outside, I see a lot of company giving credit cards and do you want to make the credit cards or something? There are a lot outside.
Sure.
So would it be very would it be good for the newcomer to make the credit cards, or would rather be not making for now? So what do you think about it?
Sorry, I misspoke earlier. Another good thing that can affect your credit score is if you have a credit card and if you use it, so they see that you are actually borrowing some and that you're paying it back. So if an individual finds themselves shopping at Costco all the time, they could look into a Costco card. If they really like Canadian Tire, they could look in the Triangle card. There's Costco cards. There are all sorts of credit cards, like you were saying, and each of them have their own individual benefits as to what they give you when you spend your money with them. So it'll be wise for somebody to look into maybe 1 or 2 of these. And, with the rules that we were saying earlier, don't use too much credit, always pay your bills on time. Then you can look into the separate benefits that these companies actually give you and use those to your best advantage.
Oh, okay. And yeah, my last question: what is your suggestion as a financial educator for the new immigrants?
For what, sorry?
Yeah, for financial literacy, in terms of financial literacy.
There are hundreds of books out there, but it's hard to find the best ones, right? And a lot of the books that are going to be useful to you are more on how, well, that's hard to say because there's just so much, not wrong necessarily, but a lot of the information out there isn't the best. And so as a new immigrant coming to Canada, then honestly,
yeah, especially if if they want to buy some house or something like that, if they want to be stable, so that they don't need to be very worry about the a lot of money pressure or something like that.
Right. Well, yeah, for a new immigrant coming to Canada, then I think that the best thing for them to do would be to talk to different people about ideas and different independent advisors, or maybe even advisors at a bank, or also, feel free to contact me as well. Look into the different options that are available. Now, too much information obviously isn't going to be a good thing. So we need to find the best information, but that is very hard to come by, my friend. So if somebody wants to feel secure with where their finances are at and that they're going to be secure for retirement, then there are, the strategies are simple, but they're not well known and they're not spread to so many people, which again is why we're on this financial literacy campaign. And yeah.
So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate your time. Yeah.
Of course. Yes. Thank you for the questions.
ခုလိုနားထောင်ပေးတာကျေးဇူးတင်ပါတယ်ခင်ဗျာကျွန်တော်တို့ Burmese Canadian YouTube share ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်မိသည့်ကုမ္ပဏီနဲ့မှာ partnership လုပ်ထားခြင်းမရှိပါဘူး sponsorship ယူထားခြင်းလည်းမရှိပါဘူးကျွန်တော်တို့ကတော့ information သက်သက်ပေးခြင်းတာဖြစ်ပါတယ်ကနေဒါနိုင်ငံအပါအဝင်အခြားနိုင်ငံရပ်ခြားကိုတောင်းရွှေ့အခြေချဖို့အတွက်စိတ်ဝင်စားတဲ့ immigration နဲ့ပတ်သက်တဲ့သတင်းတွေကိုသိချင်တယ်ဆိုလို့ရှိရင်ကျွန်တော်တို့ရဲ့ YouTube ဖြစ်တဲ့ Burmese Canadian by GFN YouTube page ကို subscribe လုပ်ထားပေးပါနော်အသစ်တင်တိုင်းသိရအောင်လို့ခေါင်းလောင်းပုံစံ notification တွေယူထားပေးပါ